This video is on to 3-point perspective, and there's another poster available for you. You are actually viewing this video right now in 3-point perspective to kind of show you how you see it in the real world. So notice that this line we know is straight, but do you see how in your video, okay, so to you, this looks straight, but do you see how this becomes angled? That is an example of 3-point perspective. So there is a how-to set of directions located here that will review what I'm going to show you in this video. There are examples of how you can use 3-point perspective from the most simple, like boxes, to more complex, like the name, and then how you can use it in architecture. I recommend always practicing some of these application skills before trying to apply it to whatever your art idea is. Okay, let's move on to the how-to video. So let me transition here. While I am transitioning, I'll take this opportunity to tell you that it is important that you have a firm, clear understanding of 1-point and 2-point perspective before you would move into 3-point perspective. It is also a good idea to make sure you have a clear understanding of how 0-point perspective works. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw our horizon line down towards the bottom of the paper. And at the bottom of the paper, we are going to go ahead and label our vanishing points. So we have Sue, which I am writing upside down, please forgive me, here. And we have Bob. If you've ever wondered why I give them these simple names, it's so I can write them upside down, over here. And then we are going to add our third point, which is Wilbert. Oh, not too bad. Up at the top. Then the first line we make is going to start by touching to Wilbert, going straight down. We are going to cross our horizon line and then stop. So this is our first vertical. That first vertical has connected to Wilbert, and so just like normal with 2-point perspective, we are going to connect the top and the bottom to Bob. We are going to use our 0-point perspective skills of pushing down and letting up so that the line is darkest and strongest, closest to the first vertical, because that would be the thing closest to the viewer. You will also notice that our horizon line is lower on the page because theoretically this is the line that is coming off of, ooh, look, I didn't do a good job there, that's okay, that is coming off of our viewer's eye. So I always use the trick of, if you take a ruler like this, your horizon line is essentially what shoots off of your viewer's eye. Now this isn't always true, this is kind of an oversimplification, but 90% of the time that is true. Wherever your viewer's eye is directed at, that is where your horizon line is probably located. Okay, going back here to our paper, I am then going to draw the second corner, but instead of trying to make sure it is parallel like one would if I was doing 2-point perspective, I am instead just going to connect it to Wilbert. So my second vertical, V2. Now I wouldn't draw the back side of this because you wouldn't be able to see it. Then I do my third vertical. Again, I'm going to label it. But again, I wouldn't need to connect it to Bob because you wouldn't see it. Alright, but what if this is a city, what if this is a road right here? So I'm going to have a series of buildings. Well, here's how this works. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide that this next building is set a little bit away. And I'm using Sue because I'm on Sue's side. So anything on this side of my composition has to connect to Sue. And anything on this side of my composition has to connect to Bob. So I've drawn that first line, and then I have to remember every time I do a vertical, it has to go to Wilbert. And then I'm going to think of this as being a shorter building. So it's tucked back away and it's shorter. Now my gut response is going to be to try and connect this to Bob, but I'm not doing 2 point, I'm doing 3 point. I'm on the Sue side, so it has to connect to Sue. Now, I then could keep going in this manner, drawing more and more buildings. This, you will notice, is actually really exaggerated. You kind of feel like, wow, would I ever notice something at that strong of an angle? Which brings up a really valid point. When most artists are doing 3 point, they don't do it all on one sheet of paper like this. Instead, they use a series of papers. So they would attach what they call wings. So this is my primary drawing paper, but I might put my horizon line across multiple papers, and I might put Bob all the way over here. And I might attach another paper up top, and Wilbert is all the way up there. And the further away my vanishing points are, the more realistic my image. Once you've played around with 3 point perspective, make sure to create a new sketch that shows your learning for your art piece that you are trying to make.